to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This one's wife, as ever, another hammering. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I'd like you to pause for a moment and consider whether you can think of another offering, whether it's a product or a service or a television show, that has gotten such a kicking prior to its appearance as this one's wife and her with love Meghan and As Ever brand. Jaguar, they certainly got a good shoeing just recently with regard to their shift in their brand. But that was directed at the brand as a whole and wasn't so much the antics of one individual, but was a strategy that was adopted by the Jaguar board, which largely backfired. It had a few days' worth of press, and then that was it. You certainly didn't have the CEO of Jaguar going on Instagram, creating a video and bleating about it and engaging in behaviours which drew attention onto him. Yes, he provided a response to the criticism, which was reported on, but beyond that, that was as far as it went. Ordinarily, for instance, new campaigns might not actually get any coverage in the press beyond paid advertisements. The op-eds don't bother with them. In some instances, they might do, highlighting a particularly innovative advertising strategy or some interesting new product. Sometimes it's part advertorial. But generally, it's positive. So, for instance, Pepsi have got a new campaign, and that might be some buzz generated behind that, which is positive. But you don't get the level of criticism that this one's wife has attracted. Now, her supporters will say, well, that's because there are so many misogynistic, racist haters who love nothing more than having a go at this one's wife. Well, unfortunately for those flabbily intellectualized dimwits, they fail to recognize that it's nothing to do with being a hater or a misogynist or a racist, and everything to do with two factors. The first, this one's wife is an unlikable, untalented loser, and secondly, people now rather enjoy watching her clown show, and the writers know about this, with the consequence that they understand that articles about her uselessness will get views. As I explained earlier, in relation to As Ever, there was some neutral coverage amongst the press, there was some that was positive, and then there have been pieces which have been picking it apart, talking about the Duchess of Disasters and so forth. The Telegraph has certainly weighed in, and it does so again with a piece that relates to her mood board. Guy Kelly decided that he's going to decipher her puzzling visual collage, and she gets another hammering. He writes, "I believe it was Michelangelo who said it best. If people knew how hard I had to work to gain my mastery, it would not seem so wonderful at all." And so the great Renaissance man was simply admired as a genius, Il Divino, the Divine One, whose art was blessed with terribilità, the quality of provoking terror, awe, or a sense of the sublime in the viewer. It could be argued, but it is best we debate it another day, that this one's wife, the Duchess of Sussex, is the 21st century's answer to Michelangelo. That is clearly said, firmly tongue-in-cheek. Mononymous, multidisciplined, great at decorating, they are effectively one and the same, just crudely born in different times. M&M, two peas, one pod, peas two ways, if you will. A piss take, of course, of her two-way carrot. Carrots two ways, as I mentioned in my piss take, the double-headed dildo. Yet when it comes to revealing their working, the masters diverge. Michelangelo was shy about his, hiding his labour to maintain his mystique. This one's wife, on the other hand, is nothing if not generous, approachable and eager to connect. Now as she slays her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, and instantly resurrects it as ever, she has invited us into her mind palace with the publication on Instagram of a mood board. You're probably wondering how I get all my crazy brilliant ideas. Well, here's a little peek behind the curtain. And of course, peak was misspelt, as it was wrote as mountain peak rather than peak as in luck, is the key message of the artfully arranged work. And it's true, really have been curious about what goes on in this one's wife's head for years. The subtle snark and sarcasm is resplendent throughout this article. Now we know it's mainly live, laugh, love style inspiration quotes, burn, bits of old napkin, ouch, and printouts of historic Instagram posts. The Michelangelo of Monte Shit Show never misses, and here is another meta masterpiece. If that's not terribilita, then well, I'm not qualified to use the term. Now, let us try in vain to analyse what this one's wife could possibly be trying to tell us. In common with a drunk uncle at a wedding who can do the worm without spilling the open bottle of Peroni hidden in his trousers, this one's wife has a hidden talent, and she is not about to let an opportunity pass without reminding the world of it. 6 years at an all-girls Catholic school meant handwriting practice, and I've always had a propensity for getting the cursive down pretty well, she told Esquire in an almost comically handwriting-focused interview from 2013. As a young aspiring actress, calligraphy became her job. Talks about how she used to write the celebrity correspondence and invitations, and talks about that before stating, photos of this one's wife's note cards would inspire an article a month during her time as a working royal, and since then it appeared on jam labels and Instagram posts and the logo for American Riviera Orchard, RIP, in the title card for her delayed with love Meghan Netflix documentary, and now of course here, twice actually, as the jam labels are back. It is difficult to know exactly what As Ever will do, or sell, or promote, or be. But on the evidence of this board, which was definitely not hastily put together in retrospect for the benefit of Instagram, it will at least be positive. So positive. Aggressively positive. Affirmations yelled, compliments screamed, daily optimism attacks, praise sprees. Happiness looks gorgeous on you, one bellows. Not to spoil the ending for you, but everything is going to be okay, is in the style of a placard held by a street preacher outside a healthcare clinic. You cannot make everybody happy. You are not a jar of Nutella. Is this one's wife, Don Draper, brainstorming slogans for her favourite hazelnut spread? Perchance they follow her on Instagram and have an opening. And then there's stay close to people who feel like sunshine, which of course implies the royal family do not. Wait until Queen Camilla hears that she is not considered like sunshine. This will devastate her. Fresh farm eggs, carrot two-way sweet treats. That gorgeous calligraphy in the top left-hand corner, it really is lovely handwriting, which of course, the snark there again by just saying it's just handwriting, reads like a menu at the world's most annoying restaurant. Or perhaps a list of items you might leave out for Father Christmas if he'd got sober, gone bougie, and started competing in High Rocks events. The middle line stands out. In truth, I am scared of researching the term carrots two ways at work in case it brings up some Prince Harry-themed AI pornography, but it might just be a Mick Hucknall-themed drag act. This limits my ability to explain what she means, but having checked with the food editor, there are at least 3 ways to cook a carrot, so which 2 has this one's wife chosen? The only way to find out is to engage further with As Ever. We may never know then. In the centre of the board we have a note. Love you, Meghan, it reads. Great menu. There is a heart and a doodle of a cat or Batman. It is then signed T.A. Assuming that is not British slang for thank you and is instead somebody's initials, we are left to investigate who could have possibly provided such an important piece of validation. Here are the only 3 theories I'm entertaining. 1. Tim Allen, a.k.a. Buzz Lightyear. We know this one's wife is keen to do more voice acting work for Disney because Prince Harry was caught asking Disney CEO Bob Iger if he considered this one's wife a voice acting work. Tony Adams, a.k.a. Mr. Arsenal. You could do far worse than cook for the man Paul Merson would have run through a brick wall for. Who knows, maybe Strictly made him more celeb-y. Perhaps Archie's really into 90s Premier League videos on YouTube. It's not impossible. 3. The Territorial Army, a.k.a. the Army Reserve. I don't know, maybe she did a mess dinner for them or something. Let's not rule it out. Even taking in all of the above, you're probably still reeling from the idea that this one's wife has posted on Instagram a photograph of a printout of old Instagram posts. One picture is even a photograph of this one's wife taking a photograph for Instagram. Another is an old post flipped left to right and repurposed. A third is this one's wife in her storied hat era. If the mood board itself wasn't a throwback, 1/3 late noughties, Tumblr devotee, 1 part Zodiac killer, 1 part fridge door, this is this one's wife reinventing photography. Or perhaps inventing it for the first time. But again, it's influencer inception. It's the kind of thing only the most singular mind could comprehend. And if your reaction is anything other than silent awe, well, you don't deserve her. That entertaining assessment of the mood board demonstrates once again the nature of the piss take of what she's doing, done in a rather highbrow manner. This one's wife would probably read this article and think that it's complimenting her, when it's not. It's laden with sarcasm. Let's see what the people's reaction are to this article, and as ever, a quick dive below the line is always fruitful for judging the mood of the populace. Iris Corrig writes, boring as ever. Poor darling, desperate to generate income by any means possible. Concerned low, she could create something wonderful with a rope, stool and tree. Jeanette Graham Walker, why are you acknowledging the drivel that this person does, writes and lives? She is nothing since they left the royal family. Americans have now realised this and realised also that these awful attempts to make herself relevant just do not matter. William, I really do have a problem trying to identify what Ms. Markle is actually contributing to the world in general. Her husband did at least initiate the Invictus Games, and I applaud him for that, but they will run without his input now, so he probably adds very little to that. I do think he's wasted a golden opportunity that he once had to do lots of good things. What I am certain about is that the two of them do not deserve to be reported on in the press to the extent that they are. They are, generally speaking, achieving absolutely nothing of substance. Chris writes, crazy, yes. Brilliant, no. Her calligraphy is astoundingly incorrect. Manxman, marketing, all blab, no content. Somerset, with MM, I am reminded of Plato's saying about empty vessels. Isabel, her PR team, if she still has one, needs changing. She's criticised for being self-absorbed, so here comes a PR about her self-absorbed mood board, which just doubles down on that. Naomi Carter, any chance of a note on this moody board to the effect of I'm a publicity-craving hypocrite who was rude and not kind to my British in-laws and I apologise unreservedly. No surprises there. Stop giving this grasping woman the oxygen of publicity, Daily Telegraph. I pay for the Telegraph, not the Sun. As ever, it results in the criticisms of why are you writing about this woman in the Telegraph, and people then laughing at her. She gets another hammering. Criticisms, it's all challenge fuel. But the level at which this occurs demonstrates it's not hatred, but it just shows what an easy target she is for her ridiculousness. And yet, will she learn, as you know, and despite your perhaps perplexion at the fact that she does not, she never will, because she is ensconced in a bubble where the narcissist is always telling her that she is right, and anybody that criticises her is always wrong, and that will never, ever change. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.